Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Ken Kirschenbaum, and today is our third presentation in our 2020 Central Station webinar series. And I want to thank all of you for attending, and of course, Spencer Moore from Rapid Response for presenting. And I want to mention that we've had a great turnout so far, and we have another great turnout today. I know that there are some of you on here who have your own presentations to give in a couple of days or a week from now. So you got a tough act to follow from the first two we had, and no doubt that Spencer, who's put on a nice looking shirt and tie, is ready to roll. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this presentation over to, of course, Rapid does not need much of an introduction. It is one of the premier central stations in the country, without question. And it's on the Alarm Exchange. I think it might be the first one listed on the Alarm Exchange. And I work closely with Rapid on many occasions. And it's not for me to endorse any particular company, especially during these webinar series. But I'm sure that Spencer is going to give you an awful lot of information about Rapid. So Spencer, it's all yours.
Ken, thank you very much for the introduction and your whole team for putting this together. We're really happy to be here. I'm going to just click my button over here to show my screen and make sure that you can see that. And it looks like we're off and running. So again, appreciate the opportunity to present here to the Ken Kirschenbaum audience, and wanted to talk a little bit today about Rapid Response Monitoring Center and why you would consider us as your monitoring partner. So first, I think it's important for us to talk during these times a little bit about everything that we're doing when it comes to COVID-19 preparation, COVID-19 prevention, and making sure that we're having our employees be in the best possible position from a safety perspective in the office. We have 32 full-time cleaning staff utilizing hospital-grade cleaning products throughout our facilities. We utilize multi-tiered temperature screening processes. So what does that mean? Well, it means a couple things. So everybody, when they come into the facility, gets read by a thermal camera to see if they're above our temperature thresholds. And if so, they're not able to come to work and they need to go home and get tested. That's also repeated midway through their shift. And even prior to commuting into the office, we've provided every employee with an infrared thermometer, so that way they can scan their temperature prior to coming in to see if it meets our maximum threshold. So if they are over temp, they don't have to make the commute to come in all the way to work just to be sent away on the way back. We have all non-essential personnel working from home. So you'll see me talking today from my office in my basement. All of our sales team, our human resources team, some of our IT team, some of our development team, our software development team, accounting, basically all non-essential personnel are working from home. And this has really allowed us to position our key team members, the essential folks, in data entry, in dealer support, and of course in operations, all of our specialists that are processing alarms, to be appropriately social distanced and to be able to utilize one-way traffic patterns in the facility, so that way we don't ever have anybody passing each other face to face. We're also in the facility when up and moving about requiring the use of face masks. When you're seated in your workstation, that's not required, but if you happen to be standing in one of our ergonomic desks, you do have to wear a face mask. And so we're practicing and following all the CDC guidelines for essential workers. One interesting new development that we've added as part of our cleaning procedures is utilizing UV cleaning products. And so these aren't chemicals, but actually devices that we've invested in and trialed. And there's several of them out there that work really well for what we do. One of them is a large wand that you can use to wave over a workstation. It will actually kill bacteria and virus with the UV light covering the workstation. Another one reminds me a little bit of Ghostbusters. And for those that are old enough to remember that, they throw in the trap, they close the doors, they hit the button, and the trap opens up and throws out all this energy. And so there's a sort of a UV bomb type device that you do just that. You put in a room, you set it for a certain amount of time, you close the room up, you turn it on, and it runs, and it floods that entire area with UV light, killing bacteria and virus. Interesting sort of beneficial byproduct of that technique is that it actually kills a lot of things like spores, and then of course bacteria and virus, and those are the types of things that create odors in rooms. So it will remove any odors that you might have in a room too as a byproduct of the cleaning, which is kind of interesting. And then on top of that, we're really lucky enough to have invested in, when we expanded our facility in 2015 and completed that expansion a few years later, to have invested in a UV filtration system inside of our HVAC system. And so because we had that, when this pandemic really started to take root, we were able to upgrade that system much more easily than we would have had to if we didn't have it in there. We would have had to re-engineer the entire system. But we were able to just update our system and add a phase 2 UV blue light filtration system that actually does kill influenza, other viruses, many bacteria, including tuberculosis, a whole list of 36 different pathogens. And so that's really helping keeping our folks safe by making sure that we have a clean environment, making sure that we have clean air for everybody to breathe. And it's been really a nice investment on the company's behalf to make sure that we're in a position where everybody's safe during these times that we're all worried about the pandemic and what that can do to our businesses. So I talked a little bit about working from home. I'm working from home. We have a lot of people in our company that are working from home, but we don't have our essential services working from home. And that's been a conscious decision that we've made on our part. And it's done for a variety of reasons. I've listed some of those reasons here. For many years, our industry has been based on having hardened centers. What does that mean? Facilities with all sorts of redundancy, redundant power, redundant internet connections, redundant telecom connections. And we've built this in our industry for a reason. The reason is we're in the life safety business. We are here to protect life and property, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the emergency. And it's challenging for us to do that, for example, working from home. The first couple months that we were working from home, I had several power outages here at my house that caused me to be unable to utilize my internet connection to communicate with my colleagues and my customers. I imagined myself as one of our operations specialists having to deal with that in the middle of an alarm, and that's something that was concerning for us. Customer service. I can tell another brief personal story here about customer service. It's challenging to offer the best customer service when you're in a position where there can be distractions. And you think about some of those distractions. I was on the phone yesterday with Amazon trying to address an issue with my Prime account. And I had a very nice young lady that was helping me out, and she was walking me through what I needed to do to fix my system. And as we were wrapping up the call, we began to hear her dog barking. And you could tell that that was distracting her. And it was actually making her sort of rush the call and subtracting from the customer service experience. And that's something that we want to avoid. And when we have our folks together in a center, they're focused on their work product and they're not having to deal with distractions. They're able to provide a higher level of customer service. And they're also able to collaborate in a way that's impossible to do when you're all working from home. You can do things like we're doing today, where we share together via video and we communicate, where you can see me and you can hear me, but that's different than collaborating in a way where you're near each other, socially distanced, but near each other, and you can feel a vibe in the organization in terms of what's going on. And so you think of scenarios where there's some sort of major event in the country. Maybe that's a weather event, maybe that's a civil unrest event, maybe it's something related to how we're having to respond to the pandemic that increases activity, and we have to respond accordingly to make sure that we're continuing to provide a high level of service. Being together in one spot allows for more intense collaboration, quicker collaboration, and we think that it builds a stronger team all in all. You know, when you think about how we launch rockets today, we just recently sent another rocket up into space as a country a month or so ago. We still do that with a bunch of people sitting in a room, and that's because it's very important to have that collaboration. The technology's there for everyone to be, you know, remote places doing that type of work, but they do it for a reason, and that's, I think, a lot of it collaboration. One of the other reasons probably has a lot to do with security. Our hardened centers are secure. They're physically secure. They're protected with biometric, entry points. They're protected with access control. They're protected with video security, and they're protected in a variety of different ways with all sorts of security to protect your information, your customers' information, and by the fact that you're not in a place where you're in an uncontrolled environment, you're in a controlled environment where central stations don't allow phones or video equipment into the central station, so that way no recording can go on. As more and more of us offer video monitoring and things like that, we feel that those are important things to keep in a controlled environment and not to have in an uncontrolled environment. Just think about the possible liability of a operator in a position where it's forced to be in a work from home environment. There's some sort of incident that occurs and there's a loss, maybe a loss of life, a loss of property. Now everything in that home is discoverable. What was that operator doing? Were they distracted? Were they on their phone? Were they on Facebook? Are they in their email? All of that stuff could get pulled in through the legal process now. And that's something that we're concerned about for our employees, that we're not interested in exposing them to as a risk in the work that they do every day. So let's talk a little bit now more generally about our company. You can see our listing of certifications over here on the left of the screen. We're FM approved. We are an FDNY approved central station. If you're not from New England or the Mid-Atlantic states, that means we're one of a handful of central stations that are approved to monitor fire accounts in the city of New York, the 5 boroughs. We're UL, we have UL 2050. We're members in almost every single industry association that you can think of. You'll see those listed there on the left. And the company was founded in 1992 by 2 gentlemen, Mr. Russ McDonnell and Mr. Jeffrey Atkins, founded and headquartered in Syracuse, New York. We're still in Syracuse, New York. And we have a full load redundant facility out in Corona, California. We've always been a very tech forward monitoring company. In fact, we developed and released the first dealer access software in the industry. And this was actually something that if you had a Palm Pilot, if you remember back to these Palm Pilots in the 90s and the 2000s, you could get a modem card for it, and you could actually dial in and download your history on your accounts onto this Palm Pilot. So that legacy continues today with us being a very tech-forward monitoring center that serves an international client base of just around 2,700 dealers and well over now 1.7 million subscribers. We've got about 650 employees, and we invest very heavily in the training for these folks. Every single employee that comes into the business must learn how to be an operator. They go through that 6-week training course, and then they do the job for a while. So that way, whether you're writing a bill or you're writing code or you're pulling a network cable on some piece of equipment, you understand the impact that could have on the folks whose trust in us to protect their lives and protect their property. We're fully licensed in all states and all the provinces in Canada that we support for monitoring, and you can see those listed below. And here's a couple shots of our facilities. On the left, you have our headquarters facility in Syracuse, New York. That's recently been expanded to a 75,000 square foot facility that has a whole host of technological advancements in it. One of those I've shared already, the UV filtration system. I'll share some more later in the presentation when we show you a couple shots of the inside of the facility there in Syracuse. And really has all been custom engineered to exceed all industry standards that are required for us by UL, as well as to put us in a place to continue to receive awards for being a ergonomic and worker-friendly workplace. We've received several of those in the past. Out in Corona, California, we've got a 35,000 square foot facility. If you're not familiar with where Corona is in California, it's in Southern California, sort of in between LA and San Diego. And like the company headquarters, everything here was custom engineered, and it's a full service facility. So we have all the plumbing, all the hardware that's required, that if we were to lose Syracuse for whatever reason, we could then be able to support everything that we need to support out in Corona, California, and vice versa. So now I wanted to talk some about some of the different monitoring services that we offer. You see this list is very extensive. We do provide data entry support to our customers. Most of our customers choose to utilize one of our applications that we manage in-house, mobile or web applications, to handle a lot of their own data entry. but we do have 24/7 data entry services available around the year, around the clock. We offer tier 1 customer support as a default option for all of our monitoring partners. We always have bilingual operators on duty. And this year we've started offering UL 827A listed hosted monitoring services. We've been doing hosted monitoring services for some time, but since UL has created a listing for these services, we're now UL 827A listed and continue to offer those services to partners that we have before and those that are coming on board. And it's nice for them to be able to have that listing when they work for us for those services. You can see a whole list of other services here that we offer. I'm not going to read through all of them, but some of them include video monitoring, Sonatrol monitoring, GPS, area of refuge. We support a lot of IoT device companies and really have a diverse portfolio of monitoring services that we can offer and support any type of communication that you want to drive those signals into us through any of these services. We'll support any type of communication. Integration partners, I thought it would be nice to talk about some of the different CRM and business integration partners that we work with. So if you're partnered with any of these companies and logos that you see here on the screen, we've worked with each one of these companies to develop integrations between our software and their packages so you can more easily run your business. Each one of the integrations presented here has some different capabilities to it depending on exactly how you use some of these services, but they're really designed for us to work together with them to empower our alarm dealers to focus more on growing their business and running their business and less on having to do with the day-to-day of managing data, managing billing, managing customers. So that's important to us because it's our job to help support you and support your growth. And then when we talk about, how do we get some of those integrations done? What are some of those integrations that we support that are outside of sort of CRM or business development? ASAP to PSAP is a big one. That's something that we've been a big supporter of for a very long time. We're now online with 68 PSAPs, and we get online with them just about as soon as they're available for us to do so. That's been a great program that we've seen a lot of traction in over the course of the last few years. That number has grown from, I think, just 12 like 3 or 4 years ago to now over 68, and it's been ramping. We also work with a whole variety of different hardware and software vendors to do different custom integrations with their solutions to try and integrate and make the alarm experience more of a sort of one screen, one app, one company experience. So that way your customers don't have to go to the central station application, go to the software application, go to the hardware application, go to your application to manage their relationship with their alarm system. And so we've worked with companies like Alarm.com, Honeywell, DMP, and others to complete those type of integrations. And we're seeing more and more of dealer partners that are, are owning their own ecosystem. And so what I mean by that is folks that have decided that they're going to take some products and maybe have their own panels that they've developed, maybe utilize their own software that they've developed to run their business systems in-house. And so we've had a lot of opportunity to use our in-house development team to develop integrations with those type of ecosystems as well. I think it's important to note that our development team is all in-house. They're all rapid response employees. We have well over 20 folks that work just in software development to work on these integrations that we've spoken about so far, but also to help us develop new and innovative solutions that come right from rapid response that we can deliver. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking now about one of those solutions that we've delivered to solve a really big problem that's been plaguing the industry for almost since the beginning of the industry, and that's false alarms. And so many of you are familiar with and are aware of that 97% of alarms are typically false, and most of those are caused by some sort of user error. Well, when we look at our stats internally, and remember we're supporting over 1.7 million customers, right? So these stats are representative of the industry. 68% of police dispatches are due to customers not answering when we call them. So we have this big problem of 73% of the calls that we make don't go answered. People don't pick up the phone. And the default action plan for many monitoring centers on any sort of intrusion system is when someone doesn't pick up the phone, we dispatch the police. So this is a problem when resources are challenged out there in the world, right? The police agencies, the fire agencies, the medical agencies, they're challenged, they're resource constrained, especially in times like today. And so it's important for us to really mitigate the amount of false alarms, and it's been a big challenge for us as an industry. So how did we decide we were going to try to help with this? We decided to communicate with our mutual subscribers, our dealer partners and their subscribers, in a way that all of us communicate a lot more today than we used to, and that's via text message. And so we've created this Rapid SMS service, and it's a service that notifies you instantly of an alarm, that allows you to receive a text message and click into it and be able to make critical decisions in real time to take action. You don't have to download an application, and so that's easier because anybody can use it, and just about anybody these days is receiving text messages. We text message with our kids, we text message with our parents, and so you have a wide range of folks that can utilize this now award-winning application that we've developed. We're happy to have received an award from the SIA New Product Showcase in the Mobile Solutions category for Rapid SMS. So very excited to hear that earlier this month. Show you a little bit about what Rapid SMS looks like, how it works. So when the alarm goes off, you'll receive a text message that has a link in it. It'll tell you the alarm company's name, so the dealer's brand gets to be present there. And then there'll be tell you the name of the account. So if you maybe have a business and a home with this alarm company, you'll know which account is having an activation, and you can click the link. When you click into that link, you move over to this first screen where you're presented with the opportunity to either cancel the alarm, you're presented with the opportunity to request an emergency dispatch, and you're presented with all the information that's surrounding the alarm condition, the zone, what kind of alarm it is, and that when the system went into alarm. And so the next screen that you see here allows the folks, they're actually going to show a cancel alarm in this. And so they hit the cancel alarm, we confirm that they want to have it canceled, they hit confirm, and then what happens is we'll let them know that we've received their response and the request to cancel has been received, and we're beginning to process that. And one of the concerns that we have with this type of scenario is if someone cancels an error, or if they cancel and then they realize that there is indeed some sort of emergency that needs to be responded to. And with that, what happens is after the alarm has been finalized, we'll actually present to the user the slide there on the bottom that you can see the last picture for an emergency dispatch that'll move right into us, and we'll go ahead and we'll dispatch the appropriate authorities to the scene. So we've been now having this out in the field for a number of months. We released it in mid-April, and we've got some really, really interesting statistics that are coming out of the evolution of this solution. Once a subscriber gets into the application, we're noticing that over 75% of the time they utilize that application to cancel the alarm. This is absolutely magnificent because we're preventing a ton of false dispatches, and we're preventing a ton of false alarms, and we're putting control back in the hands of the subscriber. They're being engaged with your brand, they're being engaged with their alarm system every time it goes off, and it's been achieving just absolutely fantastic results. Some of those dispatches we're seeing in account bases on average as much as 40% of a decrease in dispatches. So think of the headaches that you can solve by keeping that many false alarms out of your customers' hands, out of your customers' systems. It's really, really a nice thing to be able to offer to make sure that they're not having to deal with that hassle as part of managing their alarm system. So a couple FAQs here. What is the cost? Rapid Response Dealers, it's a free service. Is it customizable? Yes, you can put your logo there. You can change the color themes to match your business's color theme. And what phones is it compatible with? Any phone that has a web browser and a data plan can use it because it's not an app. You don't have to download an app. And if nothing happens, if nobody responds, if nobody initiates or utilizes the Rapid SMS when they receive it, our operators, our alarm operator specialists will just follow your standard action plan. So this is not a substitute for serving your customer the way we always do. It's a complement. It's something new that you can offer. So I think you saw this slide in the beginning of the presentation, and I wanted to just take a moment to show some of the other areas where we deploy technology. So this is our facility in Syracuse, our headquarters facility, and you can see the big screens where we keep the weather up, we keep the news up. We have a board that displays all of our statistics, which helps with that collaboration that we spoke of earlier in the presentation. You can see the HVAC system that we've got in there that has the UV filtration and also has a variable air volume work in it, which allows us to control the temperature in zones in the facility, and the displays and the LED lighting that we have that work along with the tinted glass that we have on the outside of the facility to maintain a constant degree of light to still give natural light here in the operations floor, but not have glare on the screens, which is really, really nice to have. Show you a couple other areas of the facility here. This is our training facility. So we talk a little bit about training and how everybody has to go through this program. This is a 50-seat facility, typically not full. It's not full today here when we took this picture. But you can see that everything's on wheels, and we utilize 2 smart boards up front. We use Stages as an automation platform, and so the way we've got this facility set up, it allows everybody to be able to see on the screen, on their screens, and listen in on their headsets to our training specialists as they are running through and helping train our folks on how to process alarms. So that it's a very interactive experience. They get to help and listen to processing live alarms and visualize all of it while up on the screen. You can draw on those screens and draw your training classes' attention to certain areas as you progress through. And you can see that we've got a team of training specialists here that work with our group as we run through and we offer training. Now I'm going to take you up to our data center. So the data center is where we house all of our computing equipment. We made quite a big investment in 300 terabytes of processing power of Dell VX Rail this year in both our Syracuse and Corona facilities. And that's because we have a lot more processing that needs to be done on virtualized receivers as the industry moves from sort of a box, wire to box type of industry to a cloud to cloud industry. And we've also installed these chilled doors, which provide us with exponentially increased redundancy in our data centers because we're no longer requiring or relying on 2 large units to chill the whole room. We have redundant cooling on every single one of these racks. Neat thing about this is it's also really extended the life of all of our equipment and made our equipment more efficient because it's keeping everything significantly cooler, which helps with uptime and makes sure that we're not in a position where we have any downtime for our dealers or their subscribers. A couple other exciting things that we want to talk about a little bit today is we are well known in the industry for our mobile applications and our web applications, Rapid Mobile and Rapid Web. We are going to be rolling out some enhancements to both of these services here later this year in 2020. And so just a sneak peek of what some of that looks like for our dealers to get excited about. We've got a refresh on Rapid Mobile, and we'll also be doing a refresh on our Rapid Web platform. And so this is something that we're very excited about. We know the dealers use these platforms day in and day out, and we're excited about being in a position where we can provide additional functionality, additional reporting, more tools for you to be able to manage your business and get valuable insights that you can actually take action on in your business to help make it better. And with that, again, I want to thank Ken and the team, and I think we're going to open it up for some questions.
Thanks. That was a great presentation, which of course I expected. Nothing less from you.
Thanks, Ken.
And let's see if I can figure out how to get these questions. I forgot to mention that you can ask questions. I guess by now everybody knows that. Okay, is Rapid's SMS being used in place of the current robocall to verify, disregard an alarm, or in addition?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So many central stations utilize IVR platforms to make calls. I think that's what your question asker is referring to. When they say robocall, that's a colloquial term for that type of solution. The dealer really has the choice on how they want to set up their system, whether or not they would like to use a IVR system or they're interested in using the Rapid SMS. Many of our dealers have elected to use the Rapid SMS alongside with their burglary notifications and also alongside on low priority notifications, because we have the availability for customers to actually acknowledge that low priority notification in the Rapid SMS, and all of it's tracked. They can also go ahead and request service, which is something that our dealer partners have been really excited about because they've seen an uptick in their service requests, which is a revenue opportunity for them.
The text message goes to the dealer and subscriber at the same time?
The general setup is it goes to the subscriber. If you think of the typical dealer, if they've got 700-800 accounts and those alarms are going off on a regular basis, they wouldn't want to get the notification to the dealer. But all of the notifications are stamped in history, so the dealer has, through our mobile and web tools, the availability to go ahead and look and verify that folks got it, received it, and who interacted with it.
What about if the subscriber does request service through the text messaging? Where does that notice go?
That does go directly to the dealer, yes.
So that text would go from the subscriber's phone right to the dealer?
It would go from the subscriber's phone, not via a text message, but we would set that up internally here. So typically it would create a ticket that would go to a service email for the dealer. And if we're providing after hours answering service for the dealer, that may go to us and we may alert the dealer's on-call technicians. A lot of that depends on the type of services that the dealer chooses to use us for after hours and the specific setup. But the goal is to allow the dealer to get real-time notifications of service requests through however they prefer to do that.
I missed when you described what Robocall is. Could you just do that again?
Yeah, so most people will refer to a robocall as an IVR call, which is an interactive voice response call. So but it's a service that a lot of central stations will utilize to do low priority notifications for the most part. So this is one of those phone calls that you receive and you pick up the phone and you hear a automated voice on the other end that's telling you about something. About your credit card or fraud, about your alarm system, about your flight being delayed, whatever that may be.
Well, what would be considered a low priority call to you that you would use an automated calling process?
Yeah, sure. So commonly in the industry, things like a low battery or things like perhaps a communication failure or some other sort of notification on a system that's not an alarm. So not a fire, not a panic, not a holdup, not a burglary or environmental, but usually some sort of system notification. Maybe there's a low battery on a sensor. A lot of that type of notification these days is being done by some sort of electronic means, a text message, an email, a report that gets logged and sent out, or an IVR call, depending on the customer dealer's preference.
And a real alarm signal would be receive the call from a live operator.
That's right. And a real alarm signal could also get a text message too.
So it could be set up to have both, the text message plus a live operator.
Yes, sir. Yes. That's the design. The Rapid SMS is not a substitute for the operator.
Can a text message cancel an alarm?
Yes.
Is there any code that's required in order to do that, or they just press the button? If someone has the phone, they can cancel the alarm?
That's up to the dealer. So there are multiple ways to utilize the application. The dealer has the choice to utilize a passcode, where when you hit that cancel button, you would have to enter a passcode, and then it would be canceled. Or the dealer has the choice to use device authentication. So on our phones today, most of us keep them locked, and you've got to use your face, or you've got to use your thumbprint, or you've got to use a code to get into it. So when you think about how a lot of the applications that are out there in the industry are utilized today, you would use a device authentication to get into your phone. And once you're in your phone, there's a lot of information that you have access to, including the availability to cancel an alarm in the scenario where a dealer elects to use device authentication as opposed to a passcode. But we have both options available to our dealers.
Next question is, please remind me of the automation software used.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, so we use Stages automation software by the Bold Group.
Okay. Who are the competitors for Stages?
So you've got Mastermind, you have Bold, MicroKeys out there. Now you're testing my automation knowledge. Sims. There's quite a few programs that are out there, but those are some of the larger ones.
Would it make a difference to a dealer which software program a central station used?
You know, that's an interesting question. Sometimes we find customers that shop monitoring centers because they do prefer a certain automation platform. And that may be because of some of the tools that it allows. So for example, Stages allows a very high degree of customization. And so you can do all kinds of really cool things about when you want to make a call, when you don't. When do you want to send a text, when do you don't? Who do you want to send it to, at what time? And so that flexibility, sometimes people get really used to that, and they don't want to move to a platform where they would not have that flexibility. But that really depends on the dealer. Most folks are more interested in service, and they want to make sure that they have a really good partner. But there are some that really understand the automation platforms and how that impacts their customers and their relationship with their customers.
Do all the automation platforms have what is called SMS texting capability?
Not all automation platforms have SMS texting capability.
Right, I don't think they do. Someone wants to know whether the picture of the New York Central Station is current, or are you showing social distancing?
That picture is not current. It does not show social distancing. That was done from a shoot when we opened that part of the center a couple of years back. And you can tell when you look at that you've got people in every one of the seats there. What we've been able to do with moving everyone out, right? So moving folks like me out, is we've been able to space everyone out across the entire second floor. Our whole second floor of that facility is UL listed for Central Station operation. And so we've been able to space folks out across the whole second floor and have no issue with social distancing there.
Two people wrote in that you left out DICE as one of the automation.
There's another one.
Possibly,
Yeah.
I guess. So,
You're right.
As a manufacturer technical rep, I get that question about automation all the time. Okay, I'm not sure which question you got, but that's my fault for not keeping track of the questions coming in. So I don't have any more questions here. Anybody else have anything that you want to ask about Rapid? You did your pricing and everything? I wasn't paying attention to that part of it. Did you give everybody your pricing?
Yeah, I think they got it, Ken.
You did? Okay. If anyone wants to get in touch with Spencer, did you give him your information so that they can reach you?
I did have the information, yeah, up on the last screen. I'm not sure if they were able to see that before we clicked over.
Spencer's available probably 18 hours a day, and Jeff Atkins is available 24 hours a day. So,
both available 24 hours a day.
You can always reach Jeff if you can't reach Spencer. So anyway, I want to thank Spencer for a great presentation. I want to thank you all for attending. I hope we held your interest. I can tell that we did, because I see we kept you here throughout the entire presentation. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And again, just thanks again, Spencer. You did a great job, and I appreciate it. And everyone else does too. And anyone has any questions, please contact Spencer directly. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye.